All right, so we're almost there. We're right on the edge. This is number 10 in our beginner series. So the last thing is learning to develop your ear. As a drummer, this is incredibly important because very often you don't get sheet music. Lots of situations you may not get music written out the way other people do. It may be either simplified or not given at all. So it's really important to train your ear over time. So what you want to do is work on listening to songs and looking for certain things. So the most basic thing is being able to listen to a song and understand this is where the pulse is. This is the beat that everything is wrapped around. This is where 1, 2, 3, 4 is. Now this is where it gets kind of tricky because not every song goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes it might go 1, 2, 3. Other times it may go 1, 2, 3, 4, but it might not go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It might not divide by 2, it may divide by 3. It might go 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly. This is where it's really hard to sort something like this out in a video. It's something that you really have to work at over time and work with other people, maybe in lessons or maybe just with a friend who knows a little bit more about music than you do. So finding the beat and being able to feel what kind of rhythm is being used. Now, over time, we'll do some more videos here where you can see different families of rhythm and how they work. And we might even do some studies on specific songs if we get comments or requests for it. But that's a little bit hard to do just because of issues with fair use and using other people's music, but we can always give it a try. So other than looking at the beat, the next thing you want to look at is what kind of parts do you hear? And again, this is something that takes time to develop, but if you start with really easy songs, a lot of times like top 40 pop, whether that's your thing or not, is a good place to start. A lot of top 40 pop songs have very, very simple, easy drum parts. Things that go kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, or kick, snare, kick, snare. Really, really, really simple stuff. And if you can start to hear that, it helps a lot, and you can start to hear more complex things over time. Another thing you can do is maybe if you can't tell what's going on, do a search and try to find something online where they explain the parts. And then usually after you play them and go back and listen to it, it's a lot easier to hear that idea once you've actually worked it out on your own and played through it a little bit. Now the last one is one thing that I don't see people talk about too much, which is song form. Understanding the structure of a song, because songs are naturally really repetitive and structured. And as a drummer, it's super important that you know what's going on there. I've played in a lot of bands, and the bands where drummers don't know what's going on, it's horrible. But where they do know what's going on, they can lead the band and make it really, really comfortable and really easy for everybody to play. And half the time, they don't even know why they're having such a good time or why it's so easy. The drummer is just guiding them really subtly and really skillfully. So, aside from listening for the beat and trying to hear parts, we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about song form. And again, if we get some requests, maybe we'll look at the form for different songs or do a breakdown of some other songs. But there's tons of material like that on the internet already. If you just want to do like parts for a song, you can find so much stuff like that for YouTube as long as it's a semi-popular song. But again, if you have any requests, please leave them in the comments down below. Let's talk about song form. All right, so we have a nice other boring static shot here. So we're going to be talking about the parts that make up a song. So the first thing that's usually easy to identify is your chorus. A chorus is the part of the song that's always the same. I'll probably upload a video talking through a song after this, but I'm not going to put it in this song in case it gets pulled down for copyright or anything. But anyway, so the chorus is the part that's always the same. So if you think of a part where they sing the same words every time, that's definitely your chorus most of the time. Next thing is our verse. So the verse, usually the music is similar, but the words are different. And when I say the words are different, that's because when we talk about song form, songs specifically mean pieces of music with words. If it's an instrumental piece, that's a whole different thing, and they have different ways that they're structured. But when we talk about song form, we're talking about songs. If there's just instruments and no words, then it's a piece. So for songs, the verse has music that's usually similar, but lyrics that are different. So the music part of it might sound almost the same, but the words may be different. Sometimes they'll repeat words too, but generally that's not how verses work. And then our bridge is a big contrasting section. So with that bridge, it's not going to be like the verse or the chorus, and usually it's only going to happen one time in the song. most songs always have these three sections: verse, chorus, and bridge. And it's very frequent that they'll go verse, chorus, and then another verse, another chorus, and then do a bridge to contrast it, and then go back to the chorus one more time. Now the next set of things we have only happen sometimes. Sometimes you have an intro, and sometimes songs just start, so there may or may not be an intro. Sometimes you have an outro, and other times they just end. So sometimes we have those connective pieces at the beginning and the end, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you'll just have a transition that'll connect one piece to the other. Like after the chorus, there might be a transition back to the verse. Maybe not. There might be a solo or an instrumental part, like a guitar solo or a trumpet solo. Or it may not be clear which instrument is featured, but it just might be the band only and no words. And then last thing is a pre-chorus. Pre-choruses are kind of interesting because they're a lot more like our three at the top, our chorus, our verse, and our bridge. Usually they're a section with lyrics, but they're not in every song. Some songs have pre-choruses, some don't. And then even to make it a little bit more confusing, sometimes a pre-chorus is more like a verse, where the music is similar, but the words are different each time. And other times it's more like a chorus, where it's exactly the same each time. Either way, though, it's usually a pretty distinctly different idea from the verse or from the chorus. But in general, it just acts as a way to connect from one to the other. All right, so now let's look at the typical format that you'll see for the order of these. All right, so here's how song form normally works out. Sometimes you have an intro, sometimes you don't, and then we go into a verse. And then sometimes you may have a transition to an extra verse, or maybe not, or maybe you'll have a pre-chorus. That's what that little star means. And then you have a chorus. After that chorus, sometimes you might have a transition, sometimes you might have an instrumental feature, maybe not, and then it goes back to a verse. Then you might have something along the lines of the first verse, where maybe there's a transition and then an extra verse, or maybe there's a pre-chorus, then we have another chorus. And then after that, you could have a few things happen before the bridge. You might have a transition before the bridge, you might have an instrumental feature, and then our bridge. And then after the bridge, again, a few different things might happen. Sometimes you might go back to one more verse, or you might have another pre-chorus, or you might have an instrumental feature or a solo. But then we'll go back to our chorus, and then sometimes you have an outro, sometimes you don't. So I was talking through what was on the left side of the board. On the right side of the board, what I wrote out is specifically the form for a song called Thunder by Imagine Dragons. I had some students working on that right now, so I thought this was a really good example of typical song form. I won't include the song in this video, but I will do a second video where I talk through, well, don't talk through, I'll point through the form as we listen to the song so you can kind of hear the structure of each section. If anybody else has any requests for song form videos or form breakdowns, I always like talking about song form, so I would love to do a bunch of those as long as I don't get hit for copyright. But it's educational, so it should be under fair use, but who knows? Things are getting crazy with that. But anyway, this is kind of the end of Unit 10 in our number starting up. Blech. We made it. That's all that matters. We made it. There'll be more stuff coming. Anyway, let me know if you have any requests down in the comments down below, and we'll see what we can get going. So have fun starting out on drums, and let me know what you would like to do next. There'll be more videos coming.